They're the loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from being surrounded by people who no longer recognize you. You're sitting at dinner with your oldest friends, the ones who've known you for years, and you realize you have nothing to say. Not because you don't care about them, but because the person they're talking to, the person they think you are, doesn't exist anymore. And here's what nobody tells you about growth. Sometimes the hardest part isn't becoming who you're meant to be. It's realizing that the people you love can't come with you. Before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. If this is hitting you right in the chest, if you felt this exact loneliness, hit that subscribe button. Like this video, and drop a comment telling me, have you outgrown someone you never thought you'd lose? Because I promise you, by the end of this conversation, you're going to understand why this pain is actually evidence of your evolution, not proof that something's wrong with you. I spent my entire life in one city, Königsberg. Same streets, same buildings, same gray sky. People thought I was boring. Kant never goes anywhere, they'd say. Kant never changes. But they were wrong. I traveled further than any of them ever did. I just did it inside my own mind. And in those travels, I discovered something terrifying. You can stand still geographically and still outgrow everyone around you. Growth doesn't require a passport. It requires courage. And sometimes, that courage costs you everyone you thought would be there forever. Let me tell you what happens when you start growing and nobody around you does. At first, it's subtle. You read a book that changes how you see everything. Maybe it's about psychology, or spirituality, or history. And you're so excited, you can't wait to share it. So you bring it up at lunch with your friends. And they smile. That polite smile. That's cool, they say. Then they change the subject back to gossip, or the game, or the same complaints they've had for 3 years. You feel it, that little ping of disconnect. But you brush it off. They're busy. They're tired. It's fine. Then it happens again. You stop drinking because you're tired of numbing yourself. You start meditating because you want to understand your own mind. You leave a job that was killing your soul, even though everyone said you were crazy to walk away from the money. And each time you make one of these choices, the gap gets wider. Your friends still want to meet at the bar every Friday. You don't anymore. Not because you judge them, but because you've tasted something else. Clarity, presence, and going back to the noise, the small talk, the surface level, everything. It feels like suffocating. They notice. Oh, they notice. You've changed, they say. And the way they say it, it's not a compliment. It's an accusation. You violated some unspoken contract. You were supposed to stay the same. You were supposed to keep them comfortable. But here's what they don't understand. You didn't leave them. You just stopped shrinking yourself to fit into a space you'd outgrown. And that's the danger nobody warns you about. When you grow, you have two choices: shrink back down to stay in the room, or walk through the door and risk being alone. I knew a man once. Brilliant mind. He worked in a bookshop in my city. Every day, the same routine. Every evening, drinks with the same group of friends. They'd laugh about the same things, tell the same stories. Then one day, he started reading philosophy, really reading it, questioning everything. God, morality, the meaning of existence. He tried to share these ideas with his friends. They laughed. You think too much, they said. Just relax. Have another drink. So he did, for a while. But every time he shrank himself down to fit back into that circle, he felt a piece of himself die. Eventually, he stopped going. He spent his evenings alone, with his books, with his questions. And you know what people said? He's become so arrogant. He thinks he's better than us. But he didn't think he was better. He just couldn't pretend anymore that gossip and drinking were enough. He'd tasted something deeper, and he couldn't unknow it. That's the trap. When you outgrow people, you're accused of arrogance. But it's not arrogance that makes you pull away. It's authenticity. You simply can't keep performing a version of yourself that no longer exists. And here's where it gets really painful. It's not just friends. It's family. Your own family. The people who raised you, who loved you, who think they know you. You go home for the holidays, and you sit at that table, and you feel like a stranger. They're talking about things that don't matter to you anymore. They're living in patterns you've broken free from. And you really try to connect. But every conversation feels like you're speaking different languages. Your mother says, You used to be so fun. What happened to you? Your brother rolls his eyes when you try to talk about anything meaningful. Your father changes the subject every time you mention your new life, your new work, your new understanding of who you are. And you realize they don't want to know the real you. They want the old you back, the predictable one, the safe one, the one who never challenged them to look at themselves. I saw this in my own life. My father made saddles. Simple, honest work. My mother kept the house. They lived by faith, by tradition, by rules passed down through generations. And I love them. But when I started questioning those rules, when I tried to rebuild morality on reason instead of blind faith, I couldn't share it with them. Not because they were stupid, because it would have shattered the foundation of their entire world. And I wasn't willing to do that to them. So I lived in two worlds. The world of my family, where I was still the dutiful son, and the world of my mind, where I was free. It was lonely. God, it was lonely. But here's what I learned. Outgrowing people isn't a failure of love. It's a consequence of evolution. You don't love them less. You just become someone new. And sometimes, love means accepting that the relationship can't evolve with you. There's a specific kind of grief that comes with this. It's not like death. Death is final. Death lets you mourn and move on. But outgrowing someone, they're still there, still alive, still in your life, technically, but the connection is gone. And every time you see them, you feel the ghost of what used to be. The inside jokes that don't land anymore. The conversations that used to flow but now stutter and stop. The comfort that's been replaced by careful politeness. You grieve the friendship you had. You grieve the family dynamic that will never be the same. You grieve the version of yourself that fit so easily into their world. And nobody teaches you how to do this. Nobody tells you that growth sometimes looks like loss. Here's the question that keeps you up at night. Am I being selfish? Am I abandoning people who love me just because I've read a few books and think I'm enlightened? Am I the arrogant one? And the answer is sometimes yes. Sometimes we do get arrogant in our growth. Sometimes we do look down on people who are exactly where we used to be. And that's something to watch for. That's something to guard against. But most of the time, no, you're not being selfish. You're being honest. And there's a difference between outgrowing someone with contempt and outgrowing someone with compassion. Contempt says, I'm better than you now. You're stuck and I've evolved. Compassion says, I've changed. I don't fit here anymore. And that's sad, but it's true. I wish you well, and I release you with love. The danger of outgrowing everyone around you isn't that you'll become arrogant. The real danger is that you'll convince yourself to shrink back down. You'll think, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should just go back to how things were. At least I wasn't lonely. And you might try. You might go to that bar on Friday. You might laugh at the same jokes. You might pretend you care about the drama, the gossip, the surface level noise. But here's what happens. Every time you shrink yourself, you betray yourself. And that betrayal compounds. It builds. Until one day you wake up and realize you've spent years living someone else's life just to keep the peace. That's the real danger. Not the loneliness of outgrowing people, but the soul death of staying small to make them comfortable. I'm going to tell you something that might hurt, but you need to hear it. Not everyone is meant to be in your life forever. Some people are meant for a season. They're there to teach you something, to share something, to walk with you for a part of the journey. And then it's time to let them go. This doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you both human. Growing, changing, evolving humans who are on different paths now. The question isn't whether you should feel guilty about outgrowing someone. The question is, what are you going to do about it? You have 3 options. 1, shrink yourself. Go back. Pretend. Make everyone comfortable except yourself. This is the path of slow suicide. Don't choose this. 2, burn the bridges. Leave with anger, with resentment, with a sense of superiority. I've outgrown you, and you're all just stuck in your small lives. This is the path of bitterness. Don't choose this either. 3, release with love. Acknowledge that you've changed. Acknowledge that the relationship has changed. Thank them for what they've given you. Wish them well. And create space for new connections with people who meet you where you are now, not where you used to be. This third path, it's the hardest because it requires you to sit with grief and loneliness without numbing it, without running from it, without blaming anyone for it. It requires you to trust that on the other side of this loss, there's something new. New friendships, new family, a tribe of people who get you, who see you, who celebrate your growth instead of resenting it. And I'm not going to lie to you, you might walk alone for a while. There might be months, even years, where you feel like you don't fit anywhere, where the old world has rejected you and the new world hasn't found you yet. This is the wilderness. This is the in-between, and it's terrifying, but it's also sacred, because in that wilderness, you find out who you really are when nobody's watching, when nobody's expectations are shaping you, when you're not performing for anyone, just you, raw, real, alone with your own soul. And in that aloneness, you become unshakable. You become someone who doesn't need external validation to know your worth. You become someone who can love people without needing them to complete you. You become free. Here's what I want you to understand. Outgrowing people doesn't mean you failed at relationships. It means you succeeded at growth. And growth always costs something. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs certainty. Sometimes it costs people you thought would be there forever. But what you gain? Authenticity, freedom, the ability to look in the mirror and recognize yourself. The ability to live a life that's actually yours, not a performance of what everyone expects. So if you're sitting here right now, feeling that loneliness, feeling like you don't fit anywhere anymore, feeling guilty for having changed, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not selfish. You're not arrogant. You're growing. And growth is supposed to feel uncomfortable. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by staying in the cocoon forever. It has to break out. It has to leave behind everything it was. And for a moment, in that breaking out, it's vulnerable, exposed, alone. But then it flies. You're not losing people. You're becoming yourself. And anyone who can't celebrate that, anyone who needs you to stay small so they feel comfortable, isn't your person. Let them go. With love. With gratitude for what was. But let them go. And trust with everything you have, that the universe will bring you people who see the real you and love you not despite your growth, but because of it. So tell me, in the comments right now, who have you outgrown? What did it cost you? And what did you gain? Let's build a community of people who understand that growth is lonely sometimes, but it's worth it. Every single time. Subscribe if you're ready for more truth that nobody wants to say out loud. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep growing, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that pain, that's just proof you're becoming who you were always meant to be.